All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you are in this beautiful world. Welcome to our Inner Circle Live pre-New York session. I am your host, Ryan Carthage, joined by my awesome partner, Mr. Benny Allen. Hope everybody's doing well today. I apologize for my delay. Had some technical issues this morning, but we are ready to get rocking. So if you can hear me okay, drop me a one in the chat. Perfect. Appreciate it. So as always, let's turn off all distractions, grab a pen and paper, let's take lots of notes, and let's make sure that we participate and engage. All right. Benny, good morning, bro.
Good morning, Ryan. Good morning, everybody. How are you, Ryan?
I am doing well, man. Doing well. How about yourself?
Doing great. Ready to rock and roll.
Yes, sir. All right, cool deal. So let me switch over to trading economics and we will get to it. All right. All right. So you guys still can't see my screen. Try it that way. All right, cool deal. So, first up, German investor morale strongest in 8 months. ZW indicator of economic sentiment for Germany rose 9.8% in November, reaching its highest level since March and surpassing expectations of 5. The data suggests that Europe's largest economy has reached a turning point amid heightened economic expectations, coupled with more optimistic outlook on the industrial sector. So, it's starting to shift in the Eurozone, right? So we will continue to monitor to see how things go there. U.S. inflation, the annual inflation rate in the U.S. likely slowed to 3.3 in October, from 3.7 in September and August. Compared to September, the CPI likely rose 0.1%, the least since May, mainly due to a fall in gasoline prices. On the other hand, core inflation is expected to show some stickiness, with the annual core rate seen steady at 4.1% and the monthly rate at 0.3%, both unchanged from September. Some technical factors, including a planned update in the methodology of the calculation used for health insurance costs, which will be implemented from this month, could affect core CPI. Inflation has been falling this year after peaking at 9.1 in June of 2022, the highest level since the early 1980s. All right, so we shall see what that data gives us later on today. And euro area employment rises more than expected. So we got a boost in the euro early on this morning. UK regular wage growth slows as expected. So got a boost out of the Eurozone this morning. We've seen that in the euro pairs. So that is that. Let's go over to the calendar. Early on this week, not a ton happening. This morning we had that's that indicator for the pound Claremont change, came in below expectation, and we had SMB Chairman Jordan speaking this morning. I didn't get a chance to look at that. I'll take a look at that and see what was said there later on. But all eyes are right here on CPI data 8:30 this morning. So we'll watch that and see what happens there. Later on today, wage price index for the Aussie and then industrial production for China. Tomorrow we have pound CPI at 2 a.m. and then PPI data for the United States on core retail sales, Empire State Manufacturing, and retail sales data 8:30 tomorrow morning. So got a busy kind of middle of the week here, right? And then unemployment change for the Aussie. Then unemployment claims for the dollar on Thursday, right? So got a pretty busy middle of the week. Then later on the week slows down a bit with retail sales coming in for the pound on Friday. All right. So that's just the overview there. Any questions or anything you guys seen from a fundamental perspective that you got questions on? Nope. Benny, anything you got your eyes on from a fundamental perspective, bro?
No, I'm just like everybody else, man, waiting on CPI data. The markets has been flat to start the week because of it. So that's the key
Yes, sir.
report today.
Yes, sir. All right, cool deal. Well, let's hop over to the charts. We'll do a update on some of the pairs coming out of the weekend, and we will see where things are. As Benny stated, things have been a bit flat. So we will we'll take a look and see what we have out there brewing in the market. So let's hop over and we'll take a look at the dollar first, and then we'll ride from there. All right. So on the dollar, back to the daily, right? We are so remember last week we had this nice push down, then we made this strong comeback back into that range, right? And now we're just slowly trickling to the side, still in that range. Okay. So not a ton doing from the dollar's perspective. Not a ton doing from the dollar's perspective. Um, Give me 1 second, everybody. All right, so that's the daily time frame coming down to the 4, and here we are on the 4-hour time frame on the DXY, right? Still stuck in that range. So take that out, right? And we see we're just sitting there in that range. So based on the data today, we will see what happens and where this goes, right? Was this just a nice pullback to retest the range, and do we continue to the downside, or do we get a push to the upside back into this daily resistance level? All right, so got a ton to wait and see on there. Okay. Any questions on the DXY?
Nope.
All right, cool deal. Uh, Early in the week, from the pairs coming out of the weekend, we have the Aussie CAD. So we know overall, right? CAD was pushing to the downside, coming out of that 618 retracement range on the dollar. I mean, on the daily time frame, right? Push back down, retesting these levels of previous resistance, and coming to the 4, right? Similar story, right? Overall, the move was to the downside, but we got this nice pullback here, and then here. So coming down through the time frames, we had on the 30-minute time frame 80-20 scenario here, which played out beautifully just shy of TP2, right? We pushed up on Friday, and we're looking for a pullback back into the zone, right? And we got that, right? Nice pullback back into the zone. The market gapped down a bit, and then we saw price rise, right? So through TP1, just shy of TP2. So this one played out in our favor, right? TP1 level is 39 pips to the good to start the week, all right? So now we sit and wait and see what transpires throughout the day today. Questions on the Aussie CAD. Hopefully some folks were able to take advantage of that setup on Sunday to Monday. Nope, no questions. All right. And let's slide over to the Aussie yen. Overall, on the Aussie yen, we know we're in an interesting space on the daily time frame, right? We pushed back up to this 97,671 level and gave us a double top here, and we started pressing back down to the downside. So still got time to see what transpires here, if we're able to break above these levels and continue rising, or do we turn back over and press down? But we're stuck in this range a bit here on the daily time frame. So coming down to the 4, however, here's where we have our overall 80-20 scenario, right? And price has been moving to the downside. It got us to TP1 last week, made a nice little pullback here, right? Made a nice little pullback. So now, right, when we come back to the lower time frames, we'll see this move here and how it played out. As we come down to the 1, right, price is still just moving to the downside off the B boundary. But on the 15 is where we had our setup coming out of the weekend. Right, boom. Push down into the zone on Friday, right? It started moving up, and we got a gap down back into the zone on Sunday. We're looking for another pullback here back into the zone as price had already started to take off, and we got it there, right? And price moved to the upside and got us to TP2. Boom, right? So we had 39 pips on the first pair, and then here, the TP1, that's another 45 pips. If you took it to TP2, that's 62. All right. So up 84 pips to the good on those two pairs. Any questions on the Aussie yen?
Nope.
Nope. All right, cool deal. Now let's take a look at this Euro NZD, because it did push to the stop. So let's take a look and see what's happening there. So daily time frame, we're trying to break above this 182,623 level. Right, we're trying to continue to rise. Overall, we got to a 382 level previously, right? And we've been rising, right? Even with some sharp declines, we're still pushing to the upside here, creating higher lows. So we're trying to break above this 182,623 resistance level here. Coming down to the 4, we got a 618 push, right? And now we're rising. So let's see if we're able to close above this 182,623 level and see if we get to this D extension here on the 4, right? It looks like that's where we're headed, especially with the positive Euro data and news coming out of Germany. So we'll want to watch this to see how things transpire here and if we continue to rise, right? Throughout the day after that CPI data comes out. Coming down to the 1, right? We had a shallow retracement here. We're looking for price was pushed into the 118 and 127 zone. They're looking for a retracement to come, and it did not happen, right? Price continued to escalate to the D extension. And then you see here we had another shallow retracement, 118 and 127 zone, but you see price continuing to accelerate, right? So we want to sit and watch here and see how things move, right? So I pull those smaller fibs off, and this is a larger wave here now, right? So we're pushing into the 118 and 127 zone on the 1-hour time frame now, right? So let me go back so we can see this, right? We have the smaller waves within. Hold on. See this. take that out for a second, right? These are the waves that we're tracking here, right? 118, 127 zone, continue to escalate, right? D extension sits there. So, right, we run the larger fib off of the lower time frame, and we see that from a larger fib perspective, we are pushing into another 118, 127 zone, which is in line with the D extension on that sub fib level, right? So we want to watch this. I'm going to refresh that real quick. We want to watch this here, right, to see if we do get this peak up to push that sub fib D extension and push us right into that 118, 127 zone on the capital fib. Okay, so hit our D extension on our original move, which was 65 pips, right? So with that, we're at 19 pips in the positive so far. But now we'll watch and see, right, what happened here in this 118, 127 zone on the capital fib, right? Just above that monthly level of 182, 623. Do we get there and then get a retracement? Okay. So this is a new opportunity here that we'll keep our eyes on as we move throughout this week. Right? Let's see what happens here. Use additional confirmation because we got the positive data coming out of the Eurozone, right? So we want to be patient here and allow price to move and do its thing and tell us when it's going to turn over. All right, so be patient here, add your additional confirmations into this scenario just to ensure that, right, we increase those odds there. All right. So there's the setup there that we'll watch now on this Euro NZD. Okay. So we have stop of 130. EP1, 217. EP2. Whoops. EP2, 300. All right, boom. So there we go. So we'll watch that and see if we get a catalyst for this to move back down to the downside. All right. Questions on the Euro NZD? Nope. Okay. All right. So we'll keep our eyes on that one there. Okay. This was a 5-minute move as well that also pushed to the D extension. Well, it's pushing to the D extension rather. That's on a 5-minute time frame. So that D extension is also in line with that 1 hour D extension as well, right? So that's the move that transpired yesterday on the 5-minute time frame. So escalating to the D extension. So we'll watch off the 1 hour time frame. Cool. Euro CAD. Euro CAD. So daily time frame. Let's see. I'm gonna take this larger fib off. Got a couple things happening here. Boom. Right. So let's run that larger fib off the low. Boom. There we go. So Euro CAD from a daily time frame perspective, we still haven't got to a 382, but we're pushing back to the upside. Oil pulling back, pushing down, and we got Euro running to the upside. So we're back at this daily resistance level of 148.289, right? And we're pushing long. We got a 118, 127 zone on a daily sub fib coming in here at 148.937. So we'll watch to see how things move here on the daily time frame if we continue to escalate here. Okay. Or if we slow down, right, stall out and stay below this daily level. So we'll have to watch that closely as we move throughout the first couple of days of the week here. Coming to the 4, this is an old move. Take that out. Right here on the 4, pushing to the D extension. Right, and this is a capital fib on the 4. Okay, so pushing to the 4-hour D extension there, just above that daily level. Right, so we could potentially push into that 118, 127 zone on the daily time frame. We'll have to watch and see again how things escalate. We got a weekly resistance of 148,782. So makes sense for the D extension to be hit here off of a 50% retracement, right? So we'll watch and see how things move again in this range here as we move through the day. So coming down to the 1, this was an old move as well, right? This was last week, and then we pushed to the upside, 1-hour D extension along with that 4-hour D extension. All right, so we're headed long there. But the move that we mapped out was on the 15. Here, right? In that 118, 127 zone on the 15-minute time frame, boom, turnover, right? So we got the move down there. We did get to that TP1 level, boom, before price turned over and made its way to the upside. So this one, right, it got kind of sticky. And depending on where you had your stop loss placed, right, you might have got stopped out with that wick there, right? If you gave it a little bit more room, price ultimately would have moved in your favor there, right? So depending on where you had your stop loss placed, but that TP1 level at 22 pips, right? So that one was iffy. My account, my stop loss was there, so I did get stopped out. But it ultimately moved in our favor, almost 30 pips. All right, so that one was sticky, pushed right to that stop loss, and then turned over. Okay, so that one was a no-go for me. But like I said, if you gave it a little bit more room, you might have seen that one move in your favor there off the 15-minute time frame. Okay, now we're running long, right? So here on the 15-minute time frame as well, we got a 118, 127 zone right here in the zone. Okay, so we'll watch this as it continues to move. 1 hour, 4-hour D extension, and we got this 118, 127 zone in line with this this weekly resistance level. So we could be in for another push higher, but a larger move coming off the daily time frame as that 1 hour and 4-hour D extension get hit. So we'll shift our focus now to the higher time frames and see if we get that type of action once these D extensions are achieved. You guys follow me there?
Yes.
Any questions on this Euro CAD? No? Okay. All right, cool deal. So let's see what we got here. Right, and then let's check on this Aussie NZD. Overall, this was our move on the 4-hour time frame, right? Here's our 80-20. We pushed into this daily support level, right? Benny talked about last week managing that trade on its move down, right? We took some profit off the table as price now pulls back. So we'll watch to see if, right, this continues to rise, or do we get just a retest of these previous support levels, and do we see price turn back over and make its way down? All right, so that's the move there, right? And we see here on the sub fibs, we're pushing into 618, 786, 86 range. So we'll watch and see where price settles in and if it stays inside the sub fib AB boundary. Okay, But this is the overall move. We got a nice deep pullback, and we'll see if we're able to stay inside the AB boundary and turn back over and press down to the downside to get us to that TP1 level, maybe even that TP2 level. Okay, so that's on the 4 coming down to the 1. There's the move there, which again kind of makes sense, right? 8-6 retracement, and you see price rise. Okay, at that daily support level, pushing long. So we'll see how high price pushes into that range. Okay, so that's where we are there on the Aussie, New Zealand. Let's drop down to the whoops. The 15. And on this one, not gonna rush it, right? Just gonna allow price to continue to push to those higher time frame levels here. We do have an 80-20 scenario here, but price has been pushing to the upside pretty strong. So we do have an 80-20 scenario here. So if you do look at this particular setup, right, just add your additional confirmation in. Okay, there's the play there. Okay, so add your additional confirmation. I'm going to see if we get that move back down to the downside. Okay, so there's our 80-20 scenario on the 15-minute. Questions on the Aussie, New Zealand? Nope. Okay, stop loss 11 pips. That's above that D. TP1 41. Okay. All right, so that's the Aussie, New Zealand. Just update my notes here real quick. Okay. Then let's take a look at the Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar. So we know on this one, right, we had a larger 80-20 scenario here on the 4-hour time frame that pushed down, boom, down into the zone 786 retracement level, right, and things started to settle in. So as we move down through the time frames, on your 1, that push down took out our A, right? So we flip the fib, run it to the downside, and boom, shallow retracement, 118, 127 zone, move to the upside, right? So I haven't gotten a TP2 level yet, but pushing to the upside here. Okay, this wasn't the move coming out of the weekend, but because price had already started to make its move here, right? So 80-20 scenario on the 1-hour time frame trying to play out. We got a little bit of a pullback here to retest that B boundary level. As we come down to the 15, however, this was the 80-20 scenario here. Okay. There we go. Right. 118 to 127 zone, right? Started to make its way to the upside on Friday, right? Out of the zone, got a bit of a pullback, and then price is trying to make its way to that TP1 level. Okay, so it's moving in our favor currently, right? And we'll see what the data has for us. But price moving to the upside nonetheless. Okay, so on this one, we're sitting up. This one I got a late entry on, so I'm at break even right now. But out of the zone here, off of that pullback at its highest, 39 pips, right? It's sitting up 18 right now. So we'll see how that one develops as we move through the day. Okay. So that is the Aussie dollar. Any questions there?
No.
All right. Cool deal. On this one, yeah, I'm going to keep the stop loss wide here. Um, and I'll take the stop loss if I get it. I did move it up from the D extension to just below these lows. But I'm gonna allow it to play out, right? I've done the math on it, so I'm gonna let it continue to move. Right. We pushed out of the zone, so and we broke back above this daily level. Okay. This was a daily level of support. Um There was a daily level of support here, right? And we broke back above it. So I'm going to allow that to stay where it is, and see if we get the catalyst for that deeper retracement here. Right. Overall, I think the move will be to the downside, but do we get a push to the upside to complete that move? So I'm going to keep it there. I know what I have at risk, and so I'm going to let it float through the news and see what happens. So yeah, but some people would move that up, or even really, right, that came close to that 382 on this push to the upside. So really I should be out of that one, but my TP level didn't get hit because I have it closer to that 382 level. So I'm okay with it moving where it's going to move. So I'm going to allow it to play out and see what happens. But it did get close at 382. So in some scenarios, if that TP was a little bit shorter, right, back at the support level here on the lower time frames, right, then it would have gotten taken out. And some people might have placed their TP level a little bit lower around that support level there, right, which it retested right there. So all on stop loss placement, but like I said, I'm okay with, if price pushes back down to the downside, I'm okay with it. But I'm looking for that level to get achieved, so I'm gonna let it ride. Okay. Any other questions on this Aussie dollar? No. Okay. Cool deal. Let's check on this euro yen. Still rising, right? Positive boost out of the eurozone. We said we're looking to see price push higher into the zone, especially after the break of this daily level at 159, 740. And we're getting that move. Right? Pushing to the upside there. Coming down to the 4, where and get those fibs to pop in there. Right? Higher time, larger fib, right? Capital fib. We have price in this 118 and 127 zone, and it's rising, right? Moving closer to that D extension at 163, 317, which is almost there, right? Which is in line with that daily 118 and 127 zone. So this 4-hour D extension definitely could get hit as price continues to rise here. Okay. And we also had sub fib running off of these. Nope, that wasn't it. There we go. So on the sub fib, right, this is the play out of the weekend, right? We said watch for this push to the upside. So as we're pushing higher here, we got that larger fib D extension also in line with this 118 and 127 zone, which also puts us in alignment with that daily 118 and 127 zone, which is this box here, right? So when we push into the zone, let's watch and see how price responds. Okay, see how price responds as we move through the week, right? on these yens, we're getting higher and higher, right? Bank of Japan hasn't said anything yet. Hasn't been really any impulsive moves, and really at all, right? We got a nice push here, but not super, super impulsive. So we'll continue to watch the Bank of Japan, but they haven't said anything. They haven't talked about an intervention. They haven't talked about any of those things. So looking for price to continue to slide up as long as other currencies continue to have some positive data. So we'll watch as we push into the zone here and see if we get price to settle in and then give us a retracement. All right. So we got a sub fib 80-20 scenario there that we looked at over the weekend. And we got a larger fib 4-hour D extension to be achieved and a daily 118-127 zone, all culminating here in this range. Okay, so tons of confirmation there, looking for a price reversal. As we come down to the 1-hour time frame, you also have a 1-hour 80-20 coming into that zone, but you got your D extension right in the middle of that zone. So on the one, you could potentially ride higher and hit that 1-hour D extension. So watch that closely there. If you're going to trade this off the one, use your additional confirmations. If it stays above the cloud or if it stays above your trend line, allow it to continue to ride until it settles in. Okay. So if you want to drop your trend lines in like so. Boom. Right. right along the cloud. So we'll continue to watch and see where we settle in at and where we start to move sideways. Okay. That is the euro yen. Tons of confirmation up in the zone here, right? From all levels. So let's continue to watch and see how things transpire there. Questions? No? Okay, cool deal. Looked at the euro, New Zealand, pound dollar. Let's take a look there. Boom. Had a 1-hour 80-20. Boom. There was the move there. Shallow retracement, 118-127 zone on Friday. Price had already started to move. We got a little bit of a pullback here on Sunday, and then price continued to escalate. So I didn't enter this one because price was already on the go here, close to that 236 level. But if you did enter that one, price moved in your favor, right? And continue to rise to the upside. So out of the zone here, if you caught that on Friday, as a 117 pip move to the upside. So TP1, that was 64, right? TP2, 87. So it was a beautiful move if you were able to catch it on Friday, or if you're able to catch the market open on this little pop down before price continued to rise to the upside. So another one that moved in our favor. I didn't take this one just because it was already on the go, but we did talk about it on Saturday, right? And it continued to move in our favor. So hopefully some folks were able to take advantage of that. Excuse me. We'll watch and see how things transpire now, right? We've got a weekly level here. 123. Let me double check this. So this weekly level was a support level here. And I left it in to see if we come back and retest that level. And we broke above it. So I'm going to pull this out and adjust it as the support level there. So we'll make that change on all the time frames. So, and we'll pull that level out now. No longer serves us, so we'll allow it to go. Boom. Okay. So that's where we are on the pound dollar. I do need to update these other levels, so let's do that now. Boom. Resistance there. What there? Okay. Here we go. Now we can box this in a little bit better on the lower time frame. All right, cool. So we'll box this in now on the lower time frame. We'll drop these down. Boom, there we are. Okay. So now as we look at this 1 hour time frame that looks a little bit cleaner, right? Kind of in the middle of nowhere. So let's watch and see if we get more rise to the upside to get us to that 124, 332 level, daily resistance, or we turn back over depending on the news and push back down to the downside. So we'll watch and see what transpires there. Questions on the pound dollar? No. Okay. NZDs. Let's take a look at these. This New Zealand yen from last week, right? On the move to the downside. So I set up coming out of a ritual last weekend, right? Took its time, pushed a bit higher. Now it's trying to make its way down. Slowly moving. So we'll see if we're able to break this this 1 hour support here, 4 hour support as well, and continue moving down to the downside against that TP1. But we're on the go there. Off the entry there. It's 58 pips, a little bit more to go. We'll continue to monitor that one there. Okay, see if we can get to that TP1 level. That's just a quick look at that New Zealand yen. Let's take a look at the New Zealand CAD. That's why we're here. So, NZD CAD. This was the setup coming out of the weekend. No, it wasn't. 30-minute time frame was the setup coming out of the weekend. Let's see. So this one did not play out in our favor on the 30. Shallow retracement 118 to 127 zone. Got to push to the upside, but didn't get us to that TP1 level. And then price continued to break down. Right. We got to the D extension on the 30, pushed up, and then pulled back. All right. So that one hit our D extension off of the original setup, right? Which was 22 pips. Right, so that's there. But if we come back to the 1 hour, right, we see we have this scenario here. Right, we didn't quite get to that 382 there, and then we pushed down into that 118, 127 zone. Okay, came just shy of the 382, pushed down. Now we're in the 118, 127 zone on the 1 hour time frame. So this is another one for us to watch and see if we get the catalyst to push this back to the upside, right? The original move didn't play out. We thought this one might get to that D extension, but here we are, okay? So let's shift this now. Look at the move from this perspective. Like so. All right. So let's see if we're able to get price to push up and give us our catalyst. Well, see if we get the catalyst to push price to the upside. There you go. All right. So again, be patient. Add in your additional confirmations. That did give us a trend line break there in a pullback. So we'll watch that there. Put the cloud on also. All right. So that's the new look on the New Zealand CAD. Questions here? No? Boo. All right, cool deal. Let's take a look at the dollar yen. Still ranging. Still ranging. So that's the 5 minute. Oh, it did. So this was the move on the coming out of the weekend, right? This was our 5 minute scenario, shallow retracement, 118, 127 zone, right? You see price was lingering. Price was in this range, pushing to the D extension here, right? We had a fresh AB boundary. And then we had price develop here, right? Actually, no, my bad. That's a new fib that formed. This was the original scenario here. We had a shallow retracement. Price was up high in the zone, right? Price was up high in the zone from Friday here, right? Got to push down on Sunday, and then price just escalated. But then we got a new fib to form. I missed this one altogether. Shallow retracement pushed into that 118, 127 zone, then completely collapsed, right? Took out the A boundary. So that was an 80-20 that happened yesterday. And then we recovered. So we'll watch that. We could get some more downside movement there. Let's go back to the higher time frames and walk down and see where we are. So fib to the upside. Boom. Haven't gotten there just yet, but we're inching closer and closer and closer. All right. Stuck at this 151, 941 resistance level. That D extension is at 152, 205. Okay. So we'll see what happens with the data, but I expect this D extension to be achieved, even if it's just a wick up and then a complete reversal. Right. But just a little bit more to go there on that push to the upside. So we come down to the 4. Kind of makes sense. Let's see. That's a sub fib there. We'll pull that out and look at it from here. Boom. So on the 4 also, we're just shy of the D extension, right? 382 push here, just shy of the D extension on the 4 as well. So looking for another push to the upside to give us that daily and 4-hour D extension. Down on the 1, and I'm mapping these out just to see where price is, to see if we have some alignment on all of the time frames. This one is a little bit higher, right? 154 on the D extension. So this one could be more like a double top scenario if we get that push up to get to those D extensions on the daily and the 4-hour around that 152, 200 level, right? So I'm looking for another push to the upside like that. And then we'll see what happens, right? Do we retest and continue? Or do we turn over and break down? Okay, so gonna watch those and see what happens, but I'm looking for another push to the upside there. So gonna sit tight on that, right? So the D extension on the lower time frames got hit, but on the higher time frames, we're running, right? We had a second fib, right? Benny talks about the alternating corrections, right? We got that alternating correction here on that second fib, and price pushed down to the downside. Okay, so that's the dollar yen. That's the dollar yen. Any questions on the dollar yen overall? $20 pips. Okay. Cool deal. S&P 500. Let's see what we have. So we were looking for a correction here. Nope. Here, this is where we sit. This is old. Right? We're looking for a correction here. Right? Price in that 118, 127 zone. We still haven't got it. Still pressing sideways. So we'll see what the data gives us today. Right? But outermost part of the range, we'll watch and see what happens. Right? So this one is still in play. Still sitting sideways in that 118, 127 zone. We'll see what the data gives us and see if it gives us an opportunity for a price to move back down to the downside here. Okay, so we could see dollar move to the upside, indices move to the downside with the data. We'll see if that is what transpires or the opposite, right? Dollar falls and indices push to the upside. So we'll watch that and see, but that 5-minute 80-20 on the S&P 500 is still in play. So we'll watch that there. Questions, right? That's an update on everything out of the weekend. Oh, I missed the Euro Aussie. Let's see here. We're still ranging. So daily time frame. Let's look at this here. Daily time frame, right? We got this push down, but we're pushing back into this 118, 127 zone. So still no 382 on the, whoops, that's on the one. My bad. There we go. My apologies. Daily time frame looks like this. We got a 50% retracement pressing to the upside. We got daily resistance here that we're sitting at, right? Another level at 168.876. So pressing along, right? And been long euro for a while and it's been bouncing back and forth. We'll see if things get back long euro and if this continues moving to the upside or if we get the catalyst for the Aussie and the commodity currencies to move back more into a positive stance. We'll watch and see there. Coming down to the 4, right? Here's the move on the 4. We had this 80-20 scenario play out. Boom. Beautiful move down. Now we're pressing back to the upside. Okay. Coming down to the 1. This is what I was talking about here. So we're in that 118, 127 zone, broke down. Now we're pushing back into that 118, 127 zone. So we'll continue to monitor this to see if we get an opportunity, right, for price to move back down to the downside and stay below this 168.876 level, right? If we do, we'll look for price to move back down to the downside and get us to that TP1 level. So this one is still in play, right? Might potentially give us a double top scenario there before we get a retracement. Okay, so that one is still in the works. Questions on the Euro Aussie? Nope. All right, cool deal. Questions on anything that we covered this morning? Benny, anything before we wrap it up, bro?
No, sir. Just be patient, right? Great week last week. Don't want to give it all back to the market. Everybody is waiting, right? The market is pretty flat, waiting on the CPI data to come through. So, hey, I'm no smarter than them. So I'm going to sit back and wait too and just be patient. So that's it. Great session, man.
Appreciate it, bro. All right, good people. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Keep our eyes on the Discord. We'll get that data posted once it comes out, and we'll see where price pushes. All right. Have an awesome day. We'll see you in the morning. Peace.